All right. Looks like the button worked. I think we're live now.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So, welcome everyone to Gab Hominem, my little show where I talk with people who work anywhere in entertainment so they can share their experiences and see what kind of fun we can have learning from that. And to that end, this week we've got a fun musician. I always trip over my own words. This week we've got a really fun musician that I have actually, worked with once before in the past, and he's, um, I apologize. What were your pronouns?
He, him.
He, him. Gotcha. Yeah, he is incredibly talented. Uh, he, what the hell is going on with me today? Um, but yes, our guest this week is Ash Bricky. Thank you for joining us today, Ash.
Thanks for having me, homie.
Yeah. So Ash, you're a solo musician, as I had to correct myself on that earlier.
Yeah.
How long you been at it?
I've been making music and writing music since I was 12.
Damn.
Um, I started playing guitar when I was 15, I want to say,
Uh,
and I've just been doing shit since.
how old are you now?
I'm 20.
20. Okay. So you've been at it for getting close to a decade at least.
Yeah.
Um, so you're 20. You're playing music. Well, rather, I hope you're gonna be starting to play music live soon. After
I've been playing music live for over a year, almost 2 years.
oh damn. Okay, so you have managed to find something.
Yeah, I'm very involved in the local hardcore scene.
See, up here in Sacramento, there really hasn't been much going on. The closest I've ever had any connection to is a ska band that's up here, and even that is anything coming out of that is tentative for right now, mostly because of the local situations. But it's
You're looking in all the wrong spaces, bro. I've been to hella Sacramento shows recently. There's I think one coming up that's like a hardcore show with a few local bands. I think Mescaline Maniac is playing. I think In Chaos is playing. I don't know who else. I'm not going. I think that's actually today.
I feel like I've heard of Am Chaos once before. Wanting to go to
Uh,
local
Kind of
shows is
like I
something.
think they're beat down kind of hardcore.
Hmm. Yeah, I wanted to go to local shows is something I've been wanting to do more and more of since I got up here, and I moved up here like late 2016, I think. Um,
Mm.
but I've discovered a few, cool places to go check out shows at. I just got to actually keep up with them. But it's otherwise been really, really fun, going to some of the shows. Um, so yeah, with that, I'm gonna start with one question that I always ask all my guests whenever we start. Um, where are where are you from, and how did you get to?
I'm from Chowchilla, California, and I'm currently in Manteca in the 209. I just moved around a lot and wound up here.
And how long have you been staying there so far?
About 5 years.
Okay, so a little more steady so far. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to Chowchilla like once to visit. We kind of did this thing with one of my mom's coworkers' families up there in Chowchilla, and that place is, far as I remember, remote.
That place is a fucking shithole, bro.
uh, yeah,
The
it's
gas station town. Pretty much all there is to it. there like a situation with the mic right now?
Yeah, I need a second. I gotta see if I can update my audio interface.
Ah, you're good, bro. Music played with folk instrumentation and folk characteristics. So it's essentially very aggressive, fast-paced folk music.
Okay, I think I finally got it figured out now. Let's hope.
Oh hell yeah,
So fast-paced. One sec. So fast-paced folk music, you said.
yeah.
All right. Um, and How did you get into that specific genre?
Uh, I've been very involved in the punk scene, and I don't know. I just found the genre on YouTube at some point, I guess. And I already played acoustic guitar, and I'm like, shit, man. I'll just play some folk music. And I just
Yeah,
did.
I my because the most of the shows that I've been to so far have usually been ska shows,
Mm.
and that's actually the band that I interviewed earlier earlier this year. Um, it was actually one of the local ska bands up here in Sacramento. Flip the Switch, and they were fun. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah. But my first ska show was actually Streetlight Manifesto back in like 15. No, I think it was like 16 or 17. So
Oh, I've heard of them.
yeah, their shows are freaking fun. I love going to those, and it's kind of like evolved slowly from there into going to one of the punk rock like music festivals that goes on up here. Like if you've probably heard of the Punk and Drublic shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've done that up here in Sacramento a couple times, and I've been to both, or at least the last two. Um, so much fun, and that's kind of what expanded my tastes into punk rock a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not a punk. I'm still not a punk myself, but I enjoy it. Um, Still mostly like heavy metal that I tend to gravitate towards. Um,
Sacramento has a pretty cool metal scene and like grindcore scene.
I would imagine so. I haven't been able to look into it too much myself because I usually rely on my brother to find things for me. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, make an effort and figure out what kind of shows are going on up here. Um, but you're
I've actually
definitely
been.
was it?
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead, man.
I've been to quite a few shows in Sacramento. Uh there's a few metal bands, few punk bands, and like folk punk artists from Sacramento that I hella enjoy. There's like a hella big scene up there.
Seems a lot of a lot of bands actually do have some origin or connection to Sacramento. Like when I went to it was either Sabrosa Fest or the Punk and Drublic show. There was one band that I can't remember, but I know they're a fairly large name in the punk rock like genre. They're actually from Sacramento. I just can't remember who the hell they are. But it definitely seems like Sacramento definitely has a very big music community, within its
Yeah.
population. Um, and it's because I kind of enjoy going to the local shows, and it's where I start to realize that there's, you let me know that there's, metal bands that like to play up here as well. But where I first met you was actually for what kind of genre would you call the Sir Mayhem song? The big
Pop punk.
collaboration. Pop punk?
Hmm.
All right, yeah. Because when I first met you, it was the big like fan collaboration thing that a bunch of fans came in and provided some vocal talent for. It was a huge project, and it was pretty fun. It was really fun to be a part of. How often do you find yourself doing things like that for, other projects, kind of like that?
Uh, Not too often. I do it every once in a while. Usually for Magpie. Magpie's usually got stuff for me to do. Yeah.
Sir Mayhem definitely seems like it lent itself pretty well to that, old rock music type of genre, pop punk, things like that. Because you look at the pilot for that, and it feels very like classic '80s cartoony.
Yeah.
So it's a lot
That's
of
what
fun.
Magpie was going for.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. And it's definitely growing more into its own thing, and I actually really like that. Um, but yeah, when I met you, it was definitely a very eclectic thing to be a part of because there were so many different things going on with that. Um, is that basically only folk punk that you play in or that you play nowadays?
Mainly, yeah.
Mainly. When do you
Yeah.
find yourself traveling into the any other genres?
Uh, Other genres that I've done is like hardcore, Midwest emo, scrams, um, uh, blackened folk, um, experimental, just random shit.
But usually falling under that umbrella term of like rock music, basically. Sounds like
I'd say like punk,
punk. Gotcha.
hardcore.
I've heard of hardcore before, but I've never really looked too much into that. My brother tried telling me that like a Day to Remember would be a good place to start from at least for me.
Nah, not for hardcore. Probably for like if you're getting into like K-punk, pop punk, uh stuff like that, emo pop.
Mhm.
There I haven't gotten too much into A Day to Remember. I know a lot of my friends listen to A Day to Remember.
My brother tends to listen to them a lot, but I just haven't really. It's not that I'm against listening to them. I just haven't really found myself with the time or really enough interest to actually look into it myself.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, with that, I think I'm gonna start getting into some of the more like um, I don't really know how to describe it because this show is for the most part here for sharing experiences that help people learn a little bit about whatever field of entertainment they're looking to get into. I've talked with
Yeah.
animators, voice actors, I've talked with musicians before, of course. Um, and as far as I've seen, I've only spoken with the one ska band that's up here as like a local type of musician place, but that was a band that had its own experience to it. Um, how would you describe the average life of being a solo musician, especially for local shows?
Uh Pretty much just going to shows every weekend. Just chilling really.
And do you usually like stick around afterward for a while, or
Yeah, I'm usually out until like 3 a.m.
oh shit,
after class. Yeah.
you definitely stick
But like
around and stay
wander
active.
around and shit, yeah.
Um, what would you say would be some of the more like interesting shows that you've played so far?
I've opened for the World Inferno Friendship Society in 2019 in Sacramento. It was a really big hardcore thing that was set up by my homies, Sissy Fit, a hardcore band from Stockton,
Hmm.
and it was a benefit for the charity Border Kindness that helps the kids that have been separated from their families from the border.
Right.
That was a really cool show. It was like 14 artists playing, and it started at 4 and ended at around 11. It was a really interesting show. But
Every, everybody stuck around until 3 a.m.
well, we usually do. That's usually what we do. We've done when it comes to like folk punk shows, it's very DIY, so we just play wherever. Um, we've done shows. We've done shows at parks. We've done shows behind abandoned buildings. Like we've done a show in the very beginning of 2020 for my birthday behind the abandoned Kmart and had the cops called on us twice. That was a pretty fun show.
Oh, that DIY, huh?
Yeah,
Is that? Would you say that's the majority of the shows you guys end up playing?
that's the entirety of the hardcore scene is DIY. There was a really massive show in Oakland recently that was I didn't go to it, but it was set up by the band Gulp. It was under a bridge in Oakland, and it was very massive. Like thousands of people showed up,
Whew.
setting off fireworks under this bridge and shit. It was pretty sick.
Sounds pretty wild.
Yeah,
So it's. Have you ever had experience in playing with a band before, or?
yeah. I've played. I've jammed in a band, but I'm not in a band currently.
So
Trying to get an emo violence band and a folk punk band together, or like an outlaw country band.
outlaw country. Uh, I always find that to be very fun to find musicians who are very eclectic with their tastes. It becomes very interesting because you start hearing names of different bands and different genres, and you start to wonder like how many of these exist.
There's more than you can imagine.
It-
There's always more than you can imagine.
oh God, yeah, because I remember just the looking under the metal like umbrella genre. The one podcast I listened to is like a true crime podcast, and they decided to do a 2 or 3 episode thing on Norwegian black metal, and,
Yeah,
and that
like Mayhem and shit.
yeah that sounded just absolutely freaking bonkers with how just nuts they got. But from what I heard about it through this podcast, it sounded like they were a pretty tight knit community and were actually, for the most part, you know, a pretty cool community.
Yeah, if you look past like the burning down churches and shit, and
Yeah,
like killing your fucking vocalist and taking a picture of it and then getting arrested, it's pretty cool community.
yeah. It's nuts. Although that did also have its other issues and within that community. Like apparently there was issues with the guy. What the hell is his name? Euronymous, I think.
Yeah, with that's the guy from Mayhem, right? I think.
I think it
I'm not too
was.
familiar with the black metal scene.
Yeah, but he apparently like started a label specifically for the Norwegian black metal scene. But at some point ran into an issue with a lot of the people under his label because he apparently wasn't paying them.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that turned into its own whole thing. And it kind of gets it can be pretty tense sometimes depending on how the situations are and how they go. But
Yeah.
how often does something like that end up happening with the local musicians?
Not too often, because when it comes to hardcore, people are usually really quick to call people out for that because they don't fuck with that. They hella don't fuck with that.
I would hope not. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
with
the whole
everything,
thing with hardcore.
it go ahead.
That's the whole thing with hardcore is they don't fuck with shit like that. Like if you're like fucking with people, like if you're a Nazi or some shit, you're gonna get your ass beat. There's a Nazi at a show that I went to who got stabbed. Um and yeah, people just don't fuck with that. They want to keep the scene safe for everyone.
And they also want to make it like fun for everyone. It sounds like as well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's because what the hell was it? It- do let's see if I can word this one correctly because like I said, I always trip over my own words.
You're good.
Do local bands sign on with labels, or is there something else that goes on when it comes to a local group?
It depends on the band, like, and what they want. Because, like, there are local labels. Some bands go on to bigger labels if they get big. Some bands do it all themselves. It really depends. Like, I'm not on a label. I promote and self-publish everything myself.
That's got to be a pain sometimes.
And not really. It's just sort of what I do.
So, what actually is involved with marketing and like promoting and publishing your own stuff? Like, what do you find yourself doing specifically in regards to that type of thing?
Um, Instagram. Just Instagram, constantly talking about my music, trying to find ways to promote it live, like handing out stickers, handing out cards with a free download link, like handing out CDs, just playing random shows, or getting some money together to make a promotion on Instagram, networking and shit like that.
Yeah, the networking is fun because that's kind of basically networking is just another term for like
Just
having
talking to people.
having your friends who may or may not be able to help you out in your career. It's like that's basically what I've discovered it comes down to. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like with the voiceover thing that I do, it's I find myself talking with a bunch of different people, and every now and then a couple of them will be like, "Hey, I found this thing. Do you want to try out for it? Because I am, and I thought you might fit for it too." And I'm like, "Sure." Yeah, but at the same time, it's also just like you're bullshitting with these people just as much as you would almost anybody else, as far as I've seen.
Yeah. That's how it goes. That's what you do.
Do you find yourself like just hanging out with some of the other musicians in your area? Mainly because of that.
Hell yeah. I love my homies.
I mean, you gotta, especially if you're gonna be playing Well, I don't know how often you guys would be playing shows together. But
Oh, that's how shows work. You get all the artists together and you play a show together. I usually set up my shows myself. I get all the local folk artists together and we play in a park and then we chill afterwards until like hella late and then go home or pass out somewhere. I don't know.
I haven't been able to stick around for that long. Most of the time I go to shows, it's everybody goes to the show, and then the show ends and everybody clears out. But with local shows, I haven't seen anybody hanging out for that long afterward. But again, I haven't really stuck around for a lot of shows in my area. Um,
We went to a tsunami show in San Jose, and after the show ended, we just chilled there in the parking lot, smoking and shit, uh, drinking and like uh, hanging out with the local gutter punks and shit.
Gutter punks.
Yeah, the homeless punks.
Oh,
We've met quite a few of them at the Tsunami show.
sounds like a
Gave him a few beers.
sounds like a load of fun just meeting random people, and it sounds like they were also pretty cool to just hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know how many of them I might have seen because I had taken a vacation down to Los Angeles about a month ago now. Actually, no, a little over a month ago now. And a friend of mine actually recommended that I check out a place down there in LA called Disc Control.
I've never heard of it. I'm not familiar with LA.
Yeah, there's apparently this like punk shop in Los Angeles called Disc Control, like DES Control. I've been in there. They actually just did a roof repair when I was there, but it feels very punk. They're blasting music so loud I can barely hear the guys. Um,
Shit.
they're selling like these denim, like not really denim vests. They're selling full on like denim like button up shirts, and I guess
Mm.
I guess you rip the sleeves off yourself or something like that.
Yeah, the denim jackets. You just cut the sleeves off instead of.
Yeah, they do that. They apparently got a lot of that going on there, and I got a couple of things while I was there. I saw behind the counter, and they're putting together like studded belts. I think they were putting together like an ammo belt for a waist belt
Oh, a
at some
bullet
point.
belt.
Yeah,
I've had a couple bullet belts. I've gone through them.
but it was a pretty cool place to check out, and I didn't really pay attention, but I feel like I might have seen one or two of these, one or two different like gutter punks that may have been hanging around, or they may have just been local guys and just didn't care.
They're pretty recognizable. They're usually all crusty and shit. Got them crusty pants on with the dirty ass black vest and the dreadlocks and shit. With the hats with the lighter caps on it. Probably smoking or drinking and shit, sitting outside. They're usually just chilling.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing I notice is a lot of them just kind of want to chill and relax and have a good time. That's all it is.
Yeah, they just chill. That's all. That's what they do.
And so you basically just do that with almost anybody else that you ever meet, and
Yeah.
it gets to be fun. Um, do you ever find yourself having to deal with any other like what kind of problems usually come up with being a musician, like local or otherwise?
Um, Being a musician or being part of the scene.
Let's start with being. Actually, let's start with being part of the scene, and we'll try to transition into the issues that come with being a musician afterward.
Um, Being part of the scene, I'd say Nazis.
They show up.
Nazis are a really big problem.
Do they
Not as
show up
much
often?
anymore, but they show up a lot, and it sucks now because back then at least you were able to tell who was a Nazi, and nowadays you can't because they look like everyone else.
Oh
And
God.
I was chilling at a show in Stockton, and I was chilling with a gutter punk, and we've been like talking the whole show. And it turns out he was a white supremacist Nazi guy, and I was like, I don't fuck with that.
Oh God.
I was like, fuck that guy.
That's surprising that they're common enough to be showing up at shows and actually have a reputation for it, which is it. I mean, from what I understand of the punk scene, at least they usually handle it.
Yeah, they usually handle it. They
Um,
usually get their ass beat.
do you ever find yourself being able to pick them out while you're playing a show?
Um, uh, I don't think any actually came to my shows. But I guess you can really tell who's a Nazi and who isn't based on like the patches they wear and what they choose to talk about, really. I think
Hmm.
that's the only way you can really determine them.
That's an upsetting part about it.
Yeah. Because back then it used to be like it used to be like the laces, it used to be how they dress. They used to be very like obvious about it, but they're not anymore because they realize that'll get their ass beat. They're trying to sneak back in.
Because they just stand out too much.
Yeah, and they don't want that anymore. Doesn't appeal to them because they know they'll just get their ass beat. So they try and sneak back in and convert everyone into their shitty ideology, which isn't gonna work.
Right. So that's kind of one thing that ends up ruining the vibe, like the vibe of the scene while you're there, especially when you're just kind of
Oh
hanging out with
nah, it's
people.
just dangerous as fuck.
Yeah.
'Cause they will fuck you up if
Um,
you're not careful. Like if you're, for example, if like you're gay or some shit, they they could like stab you if you're not careful enough. Or if you've got like some kind of backpack on that says shit like "fuck Nazis" or some bullshit. I don't know.
yeah.
They'll just sneak up on you and beat your ass. But that shit ain't like too common anymore. It was back in the '90s, I'd say, but like not much anymore. Now it's more secretive, but it still happens every once in a while.
Well, as long as you have people watching out for you, which apparently happens quite often at some of those scenes.
Yeah.
So, they now that's as far as you've noticed. Does this happen most often at the shows, or just like generally anywhere?
Um. I I'd say at shows, but it's more of a general thing within the scene.
All right. So let's go make that transition and talk about some of the things that do happen that aren't really all that great in being a musician. Like, what are some of the issues that, at least that you've experienced, that other people might want to like keep an eye out for?
Um, about being a musician.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I guess just be careful who you hang around. I'd say. There's a documentary I found on YouTube called "The Has-Been Hotel Stalker." I don't know if you've heard of that. But,
I know of Hasbin Hotel, but I haven't heard of this specific video.
well, there's a documentary that's like 40 minutes long about this guy who's like harassing and blackmailing the Has-Been Hotel staff and was stealing animation to put a fake resume together to apply to animation studios
Oh,
so he can steal the confidential information to use as blackmail to get shit that he wants.
oh fuck.
And it turns out I actually made music for this guy before back in 2019,
Oh
and
god.
I didn't know it. So I guess just be careful who you hang around.
Yeah, I think I may have heard of something like this because apparently this became a big issue that they didn't name the individual, but I remember they were talking about somebody was submitting animation, bits that they were basically plagiarizing and stealing from others while they were applying to it, and then yeah, other things were starting to come around out of it. I didn't think that it was I didn't think it was anything more than just, yeah, he didn't get in, guys, PSA. I didn't think it was anything more than that.
Oh, now this guy specifically is fucking insane.
Oh, God.
Like, Magpie, was probably the most affected by it.
Ooh.
I'd say, she was blackmailed. The whole Mayhem project was almost completely ruined by this guy because he was threatening to release everything early to ruin the surprise for Paul, and said that the only way he won't ruin the project was if Magpie gave him shit like free art and stuff. And but the thing was he was threatening her and shit on Discord, but he had another Discord that he was using as like a secret Discord, and he was inside the Mayhem server pretending to be her friend and shit, comforting her about like being like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy, this guy's insane. I can't believe he'd do that, but he's talking about himself, you know, and it's like he's fucking insane. This guy's insane,
God
you know.
damn.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy.
It's insane how that can actually reach into different areas. A lot of that was around specific artists and animators, but suddenly, now I'm hearing that you had actually had to deal with him yourself before. You're a musician. That's
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
there's a lot of voice actors that were affected. Vivzy Pop was affected too because he was leaking her Patreon stuff or Patreon content illegally, and he was also, I believe, he was blacklisted from Cartoon Network Animation Studios too
God,
because he was harassing the people from Cartoon Network as well.
God damn.
Yeah, he's crazy. Like he's like completely insane, but he's completely wiped himself from the internet, so no one knows where he's at anymore.
There was one of the first things I ever had to deal with once I got into the whole podcasting thing. There was a particular individual who was basically being like checked out, investigated by private individuals. And then they were able to get all the information out because they were actually going to be approaching the FBI with all the shit that they found on him.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah. And
FBI ain't gonna do shit though, not gonna lie.
well, apparently the guy just got rid of like the main account that he uses for everything. He had a particular name. I'm not going to worry about repeating it here, but he yeah, he apparently just decided to get rid of the name altogether, and he's just done with it. Um, so
Yeah.
like Jesus Christ, it took him. I actually thought he was done, like 6 7 months ago. Um, but apparently this just happened like a week. I think sometime in this last week.
Shit.
So it's surprising how active people like that can be, and for just how long. It's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah. It's crazy what people can do.
Yeah, but yeah, that kind of gets into some of the things that people ought to look out for. At least, just keep an eye open for. But what are some of the things that you find have been like the most? I don't know what the right word would be. Maybe the most rewarding, or like um, maybe some of the most surprising things that you've discovered in being a musician.
The shows, for sure.
Is
The shows are always the best part.
How would you describe that feeling of actually being on the stage to perform, as opposed to like when you were still building yourself up and practicing and all that?
The support. There's a lot of support.
Really?
Um, People are very supportive in the hardcore scene. You meet a lot of people who are like, "Ah, oh, dude, that set was so sick, man. You're so cool," and you just meet all these like people that are so supportive of like new music and shit. Really rewarding.
Yeah. It's that's definitely one of the cool things I've discovered about local groups is just there are people that show up just to be there for the show, but I think I've noticed it tends to be at least a lot of the same people.
Yeah,
Uh,
people like to support local, which you got to do.
mm-hmm. And it gets fun because you actually get to kind of like hang out with them. I think it's kind of one of the interesting parts about being a musician is you get to meet the musician, and you already know that they're just as human as you are as a fan, just as much of any other person. After they're
Yeah,
off the stage, yeah, or even when they're on the stage as well. But it's interesting to see that, and then you look at how people will treat other people from like the big name shows, like when it comes to punk, how people will look at Fat Mike from NoFX, or anybody from Real Big Fish or whoever, and some people will lose their shit. They get starstruck, they get nervous and anxious meeting their idols or whoever. Um, but in the end, there's really no difference between Fat Mike and yourself. You're both guys who just play music.
yeah. Just
Um,
some dude chilling.
and you just kind of like You just enjoy getting out there to play the music. It sounds like.
Yeah, I just like playing shows.
What was that?
That's pretty much it. I just like the shows.
You, um, have you managed to play any of the any kind of like? How do you define bigger shows? Let's start with that.
I'd say there's a difference between concerts and shows.
Really?
Uh, yeah, because there's a difference in size and there's a difference in context. Because I would say concert. When you go to a concert, you go to see that one band that you want to see because they're playing like an hour away and they're your idol, and you plan for like 5 months, spend like $100 to go travel and see this band because they're in San Francisco or some shit. You know, you go to the Green Day concert to see Green Day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you go to shows because it's something fun to do on a weekend and it's $5 and you find new local artists and you have fun and you stay out till 3 a.m. with your homies. You
That
know,
that
it's
makes
just a
sense.
fun thing to do every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say there's a big difference. Uh, Concerts are hella big too, and shows are usually pretty small.
So you haven't. It sounds like you haven't gone into playing a concert yet, or
I would say the closest I've gotten to playing a concert would be the time I opened for World Inferno Friendship Society because they're a pretty big punk band from New York that played with or that's associated with Choking Victim and Leftover Crack. A lot of the crack rock steady bands
mm-hmm.
from the 90s and early 2000s. That place was packed. Yeah, it was at the Colony in Sacramento, the
I've
local venue.
I've been there once, only once, but yeah, I've been there. No, sorry, twice. Both times for the the same ska band that I was talking about earlier. Um, but yeah, I've been there. I've been to the Ace of Spades a couple times. I've been to what was it, the Holy Diver, and
I was supposed to play a show at the Holy Diver.
yeah, the Holy Diver. When the one show that I went to there, the place was freaking packed when you get upstairs. Like downstairs, it's the bar food area. Fair amount of people walking around. You get upstairs, it's almost tough to actually get be able to move around in there.
Mm,
With how many people can get in there, which isn't really a whole lot of people up there, but still.
have you been to the Den of Sin yet?
I have not actually heard of that one.
It's a little venue inside of a storage unit. It has a bar inside, a little tiny stage. They've been throwing a lot of hardcore festivals there.
I need to
Uh,
check this out.
yeah, it's just the Den of Sin. Bands like uh Hood, Sacramento, um, Choking Game, Sissy Fit, Rise and Strike. All these local hardcore bands play there. It's a pretty cool little spot.
Oh, there it is. It's not showing up on like it's not popping up immediately on Google Maps, but it's definitely showing up on Google listings.
Yeah, it's a DIY venue. It's not going to show up probably.
Ah, okay,
You're
that
gonna have to
makes
go
sense.
on Instagram or some shit on social media and find it. A lot of DIY spaces like that, you can't find it on Google. You got to go on social media. That's how you find the flyers.
All right, I'll have to start. Oh man, that's gonna be a fair amount of. Hmm. I'm sure I'll find. I'm sure I'll make my way around.
It becomes easier once you find the first little social media page because then everything just sort of spills into your feed.
Probably because everybody's like crossing it to different pages to try to promote things and all that.
You find one Instagram page and it comes with a flyer or some shit for a show and you just follow all the bands and then all those bands have other flyers and then you follow all those bands and eventually you just have all these flyers popping up on your feed every single day and that's how you find shows so often. You just need that one little band or that one venue to find all the whole entire scene, and then it becomes easier after that.
And so for your part, it sounds like if you're not the one that's headlining the show, someone else is, and they invite you along to play at the show, right?
Yeah,
Have you ever had to try to organize the show yourself?
I usually organize them myself.
Really? All right.
Yeah, majority of my shows I've set up myself.
What's the process usually like? Do you just or when it comes to specific venues, at least like places that actually host a show?
Oh, I
What?
don't set up at venues.
Oh, all right.
I set up at like parks,
That's right. You
at
said it was all
the
DIY.
street. Yeah, I set up on the street. I set up alleys. I set up abandoned buildings,
Mhm.
house shows. Usually the process is like, me and my homies are chilling. We're like, oh, you guys want to do a show? In like a few weeks, they'll be like, yeah, sure. And we just get up all these local bands, all these local artists, and they'd be like, hey, y'all want to play a show?
Mhm.
They'll be like, yeah, sure. And we just get like 8 artists together, make a flyer. I usually draw the flyer myself, release it onto social media and on a group chat, and then they all post it, and then it spreads real quick.
Mhm.
Sometimes you go to like Staples or like Office Depot, and you can print out 50 flyers for like $7. You put them up around town.
Do you have any like specific like rules or conditions that you look for when you find a place to set up?
Uh, Particularly, not necessarily, but really you want to do someplace where the pigs won't get you. If it's at an abandoned building, you just tell everyone, hey, don't park in the people's lawns or the pigs will come and shut it down. Um, Shit like that. You just got to be careful, you know. You don't want the cops coming.
So it sounds like you usually it sounds like the places are usually like semi out of the way.
Yeah, like the abandoned Kmart. We're trying to do a show at the abandoned Toys R Us in Modesto.
I keep forgetting that place is abandoned now. Because I remember seeing. I think I saw a Toys R Us up in Roseville when I was driving by it, but it was all I saw was the R in the name, and I'm like,
Mm.
are they taking that apart?
Nah, that shit's all gone now.
Yeah.
That shit's all gone, bro.
Oh man. Um. So with all these different shows, is it like it? How would you describe the social vibe at these kind of shows when you do get to play them?
Everyone's chilling, really. Everyone's sitting there drinking or smoking. Sometimes it's drug free and everyone's just chilling or then talking and stuff. But generally, it's very welcoming and friendly.
Hmm.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to mosh.
Yeah. That was actually going to be one of my next questions. Like, how often does a mosh pit happen?
Always, every single set. There's hella moshing every single set.
The ska show that I was talking about earlier, the ska band I was talking about earlier, when they played at the Holy Diver, there was yeah, I specifically remember seeing that they immediately got a mosh pit as soon as their first song started, and then I think about when they played at the Ace of Spades as an opener for I think it was like a reggae like thing going on that day. At first there was like almost nobody there, and then me, my brother, and I think one of our friends decided we're just gonna mosh by ourselves in the middle of the crowd, and suddenly like the next song, half I think about a third of the crowd was already giving us all the space we needed, and there was probably another 6, 10 people joining us.
That's how it usually goes. It just takes that one or two people to start it, and then everyone else comes in.
Hmm. In fact,
Yeah, that's how it always is.
there's this I'm always gonna love this kid because he's last I saw him was pre-pandemic, and he showed up to one of the punk shows. And this kid, every time you see him, he's always in like full punk rock outfit, the vest, spikes, mohawk, and all that. And this kid is like, I think last when I saw him, he was like 12 or 13.
Oh shit,
Little punk man. I'm like,
little
damn,
baby puppy punk.
yeah. And this guy, it, I think he's a natural born mosher. Because when we played at there, not when we played, when the band played at the Holy Diver, we're busy moshing, and then you know, the one moment that I do pay attention, I see him, just kind of skanking across the dance floor, but I see him in 1 second within the span of like one measure. He goes from one end of the general mission area all the way to the other, skanking and moshing the whole way.
Yeah,
I'm like, this kid is fast.
yeah, this kid's kicking it, bruh.
And they just like anyone else that I've ever met in the at any of the shows, he's just as cool. He just kind of likes to hang around, bullshit, and just have fun.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what punks do, bruh.
Hmm.
They just wanna chill, wanna fuck around.
So it's so now going on a little bit more into your music. Do you make all the music for do you make all your music yourself, like instrumental and everything?
Yeah,
Um,
I write it all myself. I play all the instruments myself. I record it myself. I mix and master myself and release it myself. Self-publishing. I make the album art myself. I advertise and promote it myself, and then I make all my merch myself. I what else do I do? That's about it.
is there any
That's
part
it.
of the process that you don't do yourself?
Um, well, I mean, I make the merch myself, but I guess I get them. I usually get help from other people. I make the merch designs myself, like t-shirts and shit. But I usually have someone who knows how to screen print help me out with it. But I really want to learn how to screen print myself, so I
Hmm.
don't have to worry about that. And I want to get a button press too, so I don't have to order them online and wait for like a few weeks for them to come in. Same with stickers and all that.
So you get it. Basically, it sounds like you get the help where you can with just getting the materials and all that, and
Yeah,
that's where it
but
ends.
generally it's all by myself.
Yeah, I get how that is because I like to like if I get an issue with my car, I prefer to work on it myself rather than take it to a dealership or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like for me, it feels more personal to be able to work the car myself. Like it's kind of my own achievement to accomplish.
yeah,
Yeah, but it
it's like a
also
different vibe being
yeah
able to have that control.
yeah, and it's also like you also know you're saving the money doing it yourself, which is
Yeah,
kind of helpful. But yeah, for the most part, it's just like this is my project, this is my thing, and I know it is because I went out of the way to do the work myself. It just feels very accomplishing is the best word I can think of for it.
yeah, there's definitely that sense of accomplishment, you know,
Hmm.
especially if you're doing a lot of it yourself, it's very accomplishing.
Yeah. Um, Now with the music life, how like do you find yourself traveling far for a lot of these shows? I guess for the purpose of this, do you find yourself let's call traveling going out of the county? Um, do you find yourself traveling a lot for some of these shows?
Um, I would say when it comes to going out of town, yeah, I'd say yeah, I travel a bit, but never like too far. Like I would usually go to like the Bay Area, Sacramento. I think the furthest I've gone for a show would be LA. I've gone to LA for a show. Like a 6, 7 hour drive.
Yeah.
Stayed the night there, then 6, 7 hour drive back.
It sounds like you went down 99 to get to LA.
I think so. Yeah, I wasn't the one driving. I was with my homies. I was asleep.
Ah, all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
because when
because
I
I
made
left straight after work.
when I made the drive to LA myself, a couple months ago, um, it was around about 6 hours, and that's not counting the one or two rest stops I had to make. Um, Mostly because I went down I-5, and there's far fewer
Mm.
towns to have to pass through, which means less people trying to get on the highway and all that. So traffic was much easier. But
Yeah, like avoiding highways, I guess, makes it kind of quicker.
Sort of.
You know what I mean?
It's avoiding a lot of it's avoiding as many of the stops as possible is what it mainly comes down
Yeah,
to. Because I-5 is just it's almost like a desolate drive. There's almost nothing save for, you get at least from Sacramento, you pass through, um, what was it? I think it was Galt or Lodi, and then you get to Stockton and then Manteca, and then you pass through and you don't see anything until the the part of the highway that exits towards the bay past Tracy, and
yeah,
then the next stop, if you keep going down I-5, is Patterson, which is like a good 20, 30 minutes down the highway. And after that, you're not seeing another place for another like 20, 30 minutes down the highway. And even then, it's still just another like basic, another truck stop with a couple of restaurants.
yeah,
So, whereas 99, there's like a freaking town almost perpetually.
yeah,
So travel time gets to be a little nuts getting towards like LA, going to Las Vegas, something like that, if you're driving at least. Um,
yeah. It
but
could be pretty
it
hectic.
sounds like you don't usually travel more than like an hour or two for a lot of the things you do.
Yeah, because I don't have a car.
Oh,
Um, I usually hitch rides with other people. Um, I'm trying to get a van because I wanna travel the U.S. at some point.
mm, that's fair.
Yeah, I wanna do shows and shit all around.
Oh, it's going to be an interesting way to be able to see a lot of the country at least.
Yeah,
Just playing a shitload of shows and just becoming an interesting character. I'm not even sure how to really describe that. It's just for me, like it's almost an anxious thought to travel the country by yourself and just play a bunch of random shows at places you're not at all familiar with.
yeah. I'd probably have some homies with me though. I wouldn't be by myself. It's too
Oh,
scary.
yeah, I feel
Too
that.
scary.
Yeah, because it's like for me, it's a matter of like, what am I gonna do the whole time? Because there's only so much podcast that I can listen to before I, start to need, people again. I start spending a hell of a lot of time, at like truck stops and whatever bars are along the roads, just trying to find any excuse I can to socialize. Because there's only so much I can do by myself. I'm gonna have to travel with people if I ever do that.
Yeah. I can't really be by myself for too long when it comes to stuff like that. I need people.
Yeah. I've definitely finding myself been needing to be around people a lot since I started doing the podcasting thing and all that because, as we touched on before, networking is basically just making friends. And for the longest time, I've been one of those guys of just like, fuck people. I don't want to be anywhere near people. Let me live in a log cabin by myself out in the middle of the woods. Then I suddenly start doing this, and it's just like, I kind of like being around people.
Yeah, people will be pretty cool. People are pretty cool.
It's one thing I notice is that it's actually not all that often you find some actually problem people. You'll find people that are kind of annoying and you don't want to be around, but that's just a matter of like, they're here. I just don't need to be, sitting next to them. I'll just focus on this group over here.
Yeah. There's not a lot of problematic people that you run into that often, you know?
I'm guessing this includes at shows.
Yeah, it's not too often that you run into problematic people, probably just every once in a while, you know?
Mm-hmm. And do you find that anybody who does become any kind of a problem, you can usually just tell them, yeah, you can basically just tell them in some way to just kind of leave you alone and they will.
Yeah, just be like, yeah, I don't fuck with you, bro. Get out of here, bro.
But otherwise, people kind of gravitate towards their own, like, kind of people. If,
Yeah, they usually just stick to their own little group.
yeah. And some of them will,
Usually just
they,
chill by themselves.
uh, I'm guessing that's, yeah, is that usually in regards to the problem people or just anyone in general?
Everyone in general sort of just like has their own little group of people, you know?
I'm guessing some of them will make the occasional adventure to go and try to socialize with other groups.
Yeah, for sure. Like you meet a lot of people like at shows, but everyone has their own group that they're with, you know?
What would you say is probably one of the more like fascinating like social things you've witnessed at any of these shows?
The gutter punks. The gutter punks are the most interesting. I'd say.
Is
You
it that
know, because like,
is it a matter of them just kind of like, as you said earlier, them just being really chill, or is there like something else that you find really fun being around them?
well, most of them are train hoppers. Most of them hop trains and shit, and they travel,
So there,
go to
a lot of them are
shows.
like from
Like,
across the country.
yeah,
Damn.
like at the tsunami show that I was at in the Bay, we would be chilling after the show, and I'd see these two gutter punks walk out the show, go into the bushes, and pick up their big ass backpacks that they hid with their dogs, and then walk away with all their dogs and shit. You know, like there would be a group of them hanging out behind the building and behind the buildings and shit with all the other gutter punks and their dogs. They're very interesting people.
Oh, damn. That's
Yeah.
I always thought that that would have been more in regards to like that they're more like locally based, like they're from the more local community.
Well, gutter punks, they're different because being homeless, if you're homeless, there's really no point in staying local when you can travel the country and be homeless everywhere else, you
Huh.
know? If you're homeless, there's really no point in being homeless in one place because you're homeless either way. So they just travel the country, go
That's
to shows
wild.
in New York,
That's
being
wild.
from SoCal and shit, going to Tennessee. You just wind up places. Knew two of my homies from a few years ago used to hop trains just for fun. They'd travel the country for like a few months, come back, uh, chill in like their van and stuff. You know, they're really interesting people.
I'm sure you've heard a lot of really fun stories from them with all their travels.
Yeah,
Oh man, now you're kind of making me want to go to one of the. I got to start keeping an eye out for the shows you go to because I'm hoping I can actually meet them now.
yeah, they're wild. You got to get yourself involved in that scene because you meet a lot of cool people.
Hmm. Any you ever met any of them that have like been able to teach you anything interesting when it comes to playing music?
Um, I wouldn't say about playing music, but just like about just random things that are useful, I'd say, when it comes to gutter punk, because they probably out of every single person at a show, they probably know the most. Like they're the most useful people, I'd say.
Some of the
Like
most
they will
wise.
teach you. Yeah, they're the most wise. They will teach you anything you need to know.
Hmm.
Like there's this band from Modesto that's like an outlaw country band or like a folk punk band. Um, and they have a bass player who plays like the upright bass.
Mm-hmm.
Who said like, "Hey man, if you're ever down, I can teach you how to hop trains and shit, and we can travel just around California." And I'm like, "Bro, I am dead ass down." I'm like, "Bro, teach me. I am down for that, bro." You know, she said like she can that like back when she was homeless too, she would know the routines of the garbage trucks around town, and she would know which dumpsters to sleep in overnight, and she would live in the skate park. She'd know which restaurants would throw out fresh food at which time, you know. It's like random things that are just useful for that situation. They're my favorite kind of punks, I'd say.
I believe it. Yeah, but people who travel around that much, they must have seen and experienced a lot in their times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you? Actually, that's going to be an interesting one. Have you ever written any songs about any of them, like groups or any particular individuals from the gutter punks?
Um, I probably have, but the thing about my music is I always forget all of my songs unless I'm looking at my discography. Then I remember my songs. Like when I play shows, I have to write down my set list or else I forget my entire set list
Oh God.
and I don't know what to play. I'll be like, shit, what songs did I write?
That's it's always one of the interesting things. Like I can listen to a song repeatedly enough and remember all the lyrics to it. But then you ask me to like, hey, what's this song? And you play the clip, and it's like sometimes I'll be like, it's there, it's there, it's there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's just songs that you really enjoy listening to. But with songs that you made, it's that's got to be like I don't even know how like anxiety inducing that would be to suddenly realize, oh, I can't even remember my own damn songs.
Oh nah, it's not too bad. I'm just like, shit. I guess I'm not playing songs today. Or I have to go on YouTube and look myself up and like what songs did I release recently and just look at my playlist and be like, oh yeah, and then just play those songs. I've done that at a show before.
Oh my god, were you able to play that show then?
Yeah, yeah. I had it written down on my phone and I had my phone on the floor. Then I was like, what other songs do I know? I'd like look at my phone, like check out YouTube for a second, be like, oh, all right, I can play this song.
So with that, I think I'm gonna ask another question that has been kind of like sitting on my mind is that do local artists tend to like prefer staying local and try to avoid like signing on to like bigger labels and all that?
Some do, but some want to be bigger. Some prefer to stay local. Like Tsunami likes to stay in the Bay Area, but they've been growing like hella big on like online and shit and like in shows. But generally, they just want to stay local in the Bay.
Hmm.
There's some bands that have gotten fairly big. Like there's Hoods from Sacramento, is uh who is like 20 years old. Like they're a band from like 20 years ago, and they've gotten very big.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Same with the Streets from Modesto. They were on a Hardcore Worldwide. Have like 100,000 views and shit.
Damn.
But they're like local, so it really depends on the artist. Like for me, I don't really care.
Right.
Like I don't mind playing local shows all the time because that's just what I do for fun. But it'd be cool getting bigger. You know, playing bigger shows all around.
I would imagine.
Yeah, but generally it's like it's just fun playing shows in general. So either way, it's gonna be a good time.
I would hope.
Yeah,
So with it, like, remind me again, how long did you say you were playing shows?
I've been playing shows for like about a year and a half.
Okay, that's your like in your total time playing live shows.
Yeah.
All right. What what was the experience of your first show that you ever played at?
Um. It was at like a it was at like a it was at a show that I definitely did not belong in. I was I was opening. I was a folk punk musician opening for like a math rock set or math rock lineup. So it was like math rock bands, like emo psychedelic bands, and then a pop punk band. And so I was like, I didn't fit in this band or in this lineup at all. And I was like, what am I doing here? But it was fun. It was a fun show. And I remember I dropped my pick at one point and I had to finish the song with my fingers and it
Oh.
hurt.
Oh.
But it
Mm.
was a fun show. I had Taco Bell.
Was that just because it was the closest thing, or is that what you were just really craving at that time?
Oh, one of the bands, they're called Dad's Underwear, and they brought a bunch of Taco Bell and said, "Feel free to have Taco Bell." And I took a burrito and ate it. It was a good day. It was in Sacramento. It was at the Silver Orange,
the
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 small
sil-
little family venue.
The silver what?
The Silver Orange.
Silver Orange. I had not heard of that one. That's kind of one of the Denison type of things.
It's a small little family venue.
Mm.
They do like small family shows.
All right.
Yeah, so they're not too big. They're pretty small, pretty chill.
Hmm.
Good for like acoustic set.
That's definitely one of the things I've noticed about a lot of like the local groups, or even like there was a show that my brother wanted me to join him at the Colonial, or right there next to the Colony,
Yeah,
and
Cafe Colonial.
yeah,
Love that spot.
the band that was playing was called Stacked Like Pancakes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, um,
Love me some pancakes.
I think they're like a ska band. I don't know exactly what kind of band they are, but I know they usually would be considered ska. But they're from Boston, and they played a show
Mm.
over there at the Colony or the Colonial. I don't remember which one it was at, but apparently they, at least when they were still going around playing shows, they would make freaking pancakes for everyone after the show.
That's sick.
And like, okay, that makes sense. It's on brand. But that's definitely one of the things that I noticed is that when it comes to like the more local shows like that, the guys that put together the shows and go and play at them and all that, they're usually just really cool and like, in cases like the food, just really freaking generous.
Yeah, that's what you do at the that's what you do in the hardcore scene, in the DIY scene. It's very generous and shit. Like
Mm.
uh my homie Corey used to set up house shows at his house before COVID, and he would have tacos for everyone. They'd just make tacos
Oh, he would
just
just
right
make
there in the
tacos.
front yard. Yeah, they just make tacos. Give them out for really cheap too, like $1, and it'd be really good tacos. Like they were insanely good for like no reason, just like
it,
really good tacos.
that tends to be the case when you get things that are like, more the local joints. Rather than
Yeah.
like you compare any street taco you get out of a taco truck to any taco you get out of like Taco Bell or Jack in the Box.
Oh,
The local place is
Taco
always going to be
Taco
better.
Bell is not even real tacos, bro. That shit sucks ass.
It's
Like
why
I swear.
I have not bothered trying to get tacos from Taco Bell, which is ironic. The only thing I really ever bother with when it comes to Taco Bell is the quesadillas, and that's only because it's the only thing I know of that has their jalapeno sauce.
Yeah.
Which, if I knew how to make that shit myself, I would.
The only thing I fuck with from Taco Bell are those little burritos with like the Fritos in it.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
like the only shit I like from
I
Taco
don't
Bell.
remember what those are called, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't remember what they're called either, but they're pretty good. But other than that, Taco Bell is like not good. It's hella suck.
But yeah, the local places just always have the better food of whatever particular food it is as compared to like the chain restaurants.
Yeah, because it's made with love.
Yeah, there's actually a place right around the corner from where I live. It's called Super Taco, and it's like almost I think it is an authentic Mexican restaurant, but their tacos are freaking great. And of course, as for their namesake, they have what is called the Super Taco, which is basically
Oh shit!
it's like one massive taco the size of a quesadilla, and dude, this stuff is good.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
It is. I love it so much, and that one big taco is actually, I think it's actually cheaper than if you get two separate regular tacos from them.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, it's really great, and I love it. Um,
There's a local spot in Modesto that sells vegan pizza. They make completely vegan pizza, and it's right next to the Guitar Center. I haven't been there yet, but everyone that I know who's been there said it's fucking incredible.
I'm not a vegan myself, but now you're just kind of making me want to go there and try it out when I get the chance.
I ain't no vegan either, but vegan food is fucking fire. Vegan food is always fucking fire. Like I've never had bad vegan food. Like I swear.
Because like every time I ever hear vegan food, I always pop the typical jokes that you hear. Oh, vegan, what do you things like that. Um, but it's mostly just been like I've always gone for the things that I'm familiar with, and this includes for music as well. When it comes to anything that I have a choice in, I always gravitate towards things that I'm like very familiar with.
Yeah.
But over the last couple of years, I've been kind of like very interested in checking out different things. Different artists, different bands. It's kind of how I discovered groups like Within Temptation or Amaranth. It's how I've discovered other groups that are like. Have you ever heard of Playboy Man Baby?
Nah, I have not.
Yeah, they're a band that actually played with Flip the Switch when that ska band that I keep talking about.
Mm.
When they played at the Colonial, I think they were the headliner show, and they're out of Phoenix, and they were
Oh
really
shit.
cool. Yeah, their music videos are just nuts. I don't know if they animated it themselves or if they got someone else they knew to animate it. But their songs are freaking great. It was fun to listen to, and they, like a lot of the local bands, they like to actually get involved with the audience. When they're playing.
Yeah.
That's the
I
fun
love
part that I
bands
find
that
about it.
do that.
Yeah, I find it so much fun.
My there's a local band from Modesto called Willpower. They're my homies.
Hmm.
He My homie Adam, he's the vocalist and guitarist. He's very involved with the audience when he plays live. He was crowd surfing while playing guitar and shit.
Oh Jesus, that
It's
can't be easy.
wild. Nah, he's fucking talented as fuck. And it's funny because I'm when I first met him, he was 16 years old and shit, doing shit like that.
Oh shit.
And if you just heard like their recordings live, you'd be like, there's no way this dude's 16 when he played this. Like he's insanely talented. I swear to fucking God.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's it. That's always one of the fun things is you always find some of the greatest talent in some of those local acts.
Yeah. For like no reason. They're just so insanely talented.
It's almost mind blowing sometimes when you finally realize it. I'm like, this guy, this guy can play his guitar while it's behind his head, or this like when I first time I got to see Amaranth was at Ace of Spades, and
Yeah.
there was I don't know what kind of metal they are, but there was this band that plays an opener for them called Butcher Babies.
That's a sick name.
Yeah. Apparently, from what I had heard, at least, I didn't really do much research into it, but what somebody had told me is that they apparently had a thing for walking out. The vocalist specifically had a thing for walking out onto the stage nude. There were a couple of women, and
Jeezy Allen head ass.
if you were to listen to their music, you would not believe that they can growl as like hard as they do in their music. And I saw them; both of them are like almost tiny young women.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Because after they got done with their show, they came out of that door on the side of the stage, and they had to walk past me to get to their booth right by the entrance. And I remember one of the girls walks past me. None of them are in the nude at this point. I know that much. Um, but one of them walks past me, and I'm like, "You guys rock ass tonight." And she came back in the tiniest, squeakiest little voice. Oh my god, thank you. I'm like, how the hell did you just growl up there like that with that tiny a voice?
I don't know, bro. It's always the tiny girls at the shows that go the hardest, bro. There's this girl from the Stockton scene named Miriam. She's this really tiny girl who's like the sweetest person from the Stockton scene. And I see her at beatdown shows throwing fists and shit, beating up big ass dudes,
Oh
going
god.
wild in the pit. And I'm like, holy fuck. It's great.
Oh my god.
They're like chihuahuas. They always go hard. It's always the chihuahuas are the angriest. You
Oh
know?
my god. That apparently there was a study a while back that the tinier the breed, the more aggressive they get.
Yeah, dude, it's true. It's the same for people in the mosh pit.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, the
man,
kind they are, they just beat the fuck out of you for no reason.
it's nuts. But speaking of the mosh pit, that's it. That's definitely one thing that blew my mind the most. I can say this with absolute certainty, is that when I first started getting into mosh pits, um, especially this was at Streetlight Manifesto, so this is where my whole like idea of the proper mosh pit culture came from. Um, when people fall down in the mosh pit, they get back on their feet within like 3 seconds, and that's not even
Yeah,
on their own
yeah,
either. It's always like the
yeah.
nearest like six people that help them back to their feet.
It's the brotherhood mentality.
Yeah.
You
It
pick their ass back up if someone falls.
yeah, it's insane with how fast people react to get someone back into the fun.
Yeah,
And this was like I remember going to a Within Temptation show just a couple years ago. This was like the winter before the pandemic, and one of the opening shows was In Flames. Really fast paced heavy metal band, and I was in the mosh pit for that, and that was like the really intense people get in there to throw hands and get fucked up type of mosh pit.
yeah,
And I think I actually ended up getting a hairline fracture on one of my fingers from it. But it was still fun. But then I look at it and I compare that to when I go to punk shows or ska shows, and it's ska shows are just as wild, without the ambulance being called.
yeah. They're different for each genre. I'd say, like if you're going to just a regular punk show, I'd say it's more of a push pit. For ska, you got skanking and shit.
Mm.
Um, when it's more metal or hardcore, it's more intense. But if it's deep down, that's where you feel fit and
Hmm.
you actually punch people. You know, it's different for each show. I actually almost dislocated my arm
Oh
in a
shit.
mosh pit. It was at a venue and the floor was covered in beer and I slipped,
Oh
popped my arm,
damn.
couldn't move it for a few days.
That must have fucked
I
with
was
your
like,
ability to play.
hey, I just couldn't move it. I can move my fingers. It was my left arm, so it was like it was just my like it was just I could. But it's fine now.
Oh man. The cultures when you go to all these different shows are very different, but a lot of them have a lot of very similar like things or aspects to them. And it's always very fun when you go and you get to experience the shows for yourself when you go to the shows, because you really get an idea of what the community is around those bands when you go to see them.
Yeah,
And local shows, I find just like never mind, going with a group of friends to like a Metallica show or a NoFX show or whatever. Um, but it's just like you already know most of the people there for the same reason you are. They like the show you're going to. They like the band that you're going there to listen to. Um, but with local shows specifically, it just kind of seems like it's just another hangout spot.
yeah, that's very much what it is. Everyone's there to chill.
Yeah, and it's always very fun because it's otherwise it's kind of like if you weren't playing at a place that wasn't specifically like hyped up to be a show, you would almost swear it's basically just like walking into some random bar and you didn't know that there was a band playing there. It's just there happens to be people playing and otherwise the same environment. People are drinking,
Yeah,
having food, whatever food is brought over, just hanging out, bullshitting.
yeah, it's
It's a
pretty
lot of fun.
fun. Chill, you know.
Yeah.
Community is the best part about it.
Um. So with that, what are some of the do you have any particular experiences that stand out to you overall when it comes to playing shows? Like any like are there any particular moments that really like changed your outlook on anything?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know.
I've played a lot of shows, um, but I think the the uh, the show behind the abandoned Kmart really made me realize that I can do all this stuff myself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Um, I guess that one's really changed how I view shows. You know,
Because you
like
suddenly
you're
realize,
capable of doing so much
sounds like that
more
was
than
the
you
kind of
think
the
you are.
moment you realized it was just like, I can do this.
Yeah, you're much more capable to do it than you think you are. You know.
Yeah.
Plus, it was my birthday. I got a little stuffed hippo as a present. That was pretty cool.
Oh, the Kmart show was your birthday?
Yeah, it was my birthday.
Oh shit.
My birthday. I got a little hippo stuffed animal.
No.
Yeah, I still have it. And I also got like a little fox keychain
Mm.
my friend gave me. I have it on my big ass battle jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that show changed the way I view shows.
All right. Helps you out a little bit with it, not only in your knowing your ability, but also your confidence. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Um, I guess that's gonna be the last question that I'll have for you for all this, or semi last question. How big a role do you think confidence plays in playing music, especially at
I
shows?
think I think it's everything really. You got if you gotta be strong, I guess. Um
Do you think confidence is something you can build, or is it uh, like do you
oh
think
for
it's
sure you can build it. It's something that develops, everyone's capable of it, I'd say. It's not something you're born with, it's something that you gain over time and that everyone's capable of having. Because like when I first started, I was like, shit, this shit's fucking scary as fuck. And then over time, I'm just like, sup, y'all, I'm gonna play some fucking songs. And I just play songs and shit. I'm like, all right, I'm out, bye. Just like chilling. you know, it's like over time, uh, you realize just how fun it is.
right?
You know, you're capable of more than you think you are.
Yeah, because it was just last night I went to a thing at this like. You ever been to like an ERK? Like, do you remember Nexus in Modesto before it closed down?
Nah,
No. There was
I'm a
another
PC
there
guy.
there was another place in Modesto that was just like it had a different name, but I don't remember what it was called. But it's one of those places you can like go to the place and you can pay to play games on their computers or play on a
Oh, they
console.
have a lot of shit like that
And where?
in Mexico.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, I used to live in Rosarito.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I was there for like a year.
There's a place like that up here. It also has its own like bar in it, which is kind of cool.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
and they're kind of they sponsor through this radio show I listen to up here, and I went to it last night because some of the guys on the show were there that night for as like one of their usual social things, and I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna participate in the karaoke tonight and see where it goes. Um, fucking did it, did Slipknot's Duality, and I was just like, this wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, it's not as bad as you think. You just gotta do it. Yeah. You gotta do the things you want to do,
I mean, of course, you
and
still got to be
you'll realize
careful when you do it,
you.
because when I went and did it, I may have like forgotten at some point how to do the screamo parts correctly. So my
Nah,
throat,
I'm fucking
yeah,
scared. Here.
my voice was like is only slightly sore, but not as bad as I have felt it before when I tried. And I'm just like, well, at least I have a better idea of what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, harsh vocals can be tricky, but who cares?
Yeah,
You just do it. Everyone does it differently.
it's always
You gotta do
interesting.
it.
Yeah, trying to find the different ways to do it. And I'm slowly figuring out my way of doing it, which is turning into a really fun experience.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta go for it.
How long do you think it took you to figure out the confidence for yourself to go and play?
Took me a few shows
Few
to
shows?
play live. Just a few shows.
So it sounds like it all took place within the span of like what, 1 or 2 months?
Um, yeah, I'd say so. I've I don't remember the third show I remember today. I think it was at the MoCon Theater in Modesto.
what
Um,
what was the name of it again?
the MoCon Theater. It's right next to the Grubhub food truck.
Can't catch that. It sounds like you're pretty far away from the mic.
Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Uh, fucking um, shit. I don't know where my mic is. I'm using my phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Because I was able to catch up to the MoCon Theater.
Yeah, it's the MoCon Theater. It's right next to the food trucks. All
Uh,
the food trucks.
is that over in downtown where the freaking feed store is?
Uh, I don't know. It's by that big ass hotel,
That big ass. Oh, the DoubleTree.
the big ass building. You know that big ass building
Yeah.
by the train tracks, and you go down
Oh,
that street, and there's the
yeah.
Grubhub with all the food trucks, like a million food trucks.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're
It's
talking.
literally like across the street.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
in that like that business park.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't. They gave it a name. I just don't remember what the hell it was called.
That was like my third show. I think it was either that or it's at the Gotch Waltz. I don't remember where that's at though,
The only
but it's in Modesto.
the only Gottschalks I remember was somewhere off of I think it was Orangeburg and Oakdale. I think it's closed down a long time ago now. But otherwise, the only other Gottschalks I
Shit.
remember was at the mall.
Hmm. Yeah, that was my third ever show. I think it was either that one or the MoCon. Um, I remember at how is it pronounced? Gottschalks?
I think
I was
so.
never able to say it. They had to cut my set short, so I only played like 3 songs.
Oh shit.
I was like, shit, I guess I'm leaving. But I think it was after that one or the MoCon show that I was like, all right, this ain't too bad. No, I was just chilling after
It'll
that.
so it just kind of eventually sits in, and you're just like, I got this.
Yeah, you're just chilling, you know. Just got to go for it.
How often do you find people, coming to that epiphany themselves?
Um, I've met one person who was so insanely terrified of playing live,
Oh
but
God.
they're so good live. Like they're such a good singer and shit, and they're such a good guitarist, but they're just so terrified of playing live. And I'm like, bruh, you got this. I'm like, it's not too bad, bruh.
So there really is a lot more meaning to that fucking "just do it" meme than we seem to.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah.
You just gotta get it over with to realize that it's not too bad.
Right.
You just gotta do it that one time.
Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's always a lot of fun, but it's always a lot of fun when you finally get to do something and you realize it's not as bad as you think. And I start to realize this tends to apply to damn near everything.
Yeah.
So it's definitely very fun to just actually go and do something. Because it's like it's not only that epiphany of I can do this, but it's also that same kind of excuse me, that same kind of thing of like it's something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I was at my first protest too. I was fucking terrified.
Oh God.
Like shit. But it was all right. I've been to quite a few after that. It's kind of the same thing.
I haven't been to any protests so far, but it's for the most part it's been because I've been working at the time and
Yeah.
kind of need to take care of the bills and all that. The only one that I've ever had to deal with so far was actually in Sacramento after George Floyd, and I can
Yeah.
hear the flashbangs going off on the highway, and this was in Old Sac where I was working, so it
Mm.
was like right next to us. We were actually getting a little concerned of whether or not the people who go to the protest just to fuck shit up are going to start coming, making their way towards us, and we're like, we better be ready to head inside.
Yeah, fucking cares. Let them fuck shit up, bruh. Let them
Well,
fuck shit up.
well, we'd rather them not fuck us up. That's the main thing.
I've been to an Oakland protest a
Ooh.
long time ago. It was intense. Had to
Uh,
stand off with the cops. Um,
just anything to me, anything in Oakland sounds, usually pretty intense.
yeah, Oakland is wild. Oakland does not fuck around no matter what it is.
Oh,
Like they don't fuck around with shows and they don't fuck around with protests either.
damn.
Like some of my friends got arrested at Oakland. They got arrested at a protest in Oakland for like no reason.
Damn.
But yeah, that was a while ago. That was like last year.
Shit.
Fuck, that was a long ass time ago.
It does seem like a long time. But like a year seems like such a short time, yet such a long time now.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Fucking crazy.
So, I guess with that, we'll probably come to the end of this. I'm gonna give you the one more question that I always have for all my guests is, do you have any advice that you'd like to give for people, whether it's being a musician, playing at shows, or just life in general?
I don't know. Fuck shit up, I guess. Fuck shit up, bro. You could go for it. You know,
Yeah.
just fuck shit up. That's what I do.
Clearly, I mean, with all the shows you get to go to, mosh pits and all that, they get to happen, especially with hardcore shows.
Yeah, just
Um,
fuck shit up, bro.
yeah, I'll have to see if I can actually. I'll have to keep up with you and see if you do any Saturday shows and see if I can get to any of those. Because every other week I head down to run some D&D for my friends.
Yeah.
I'll have to. This
There's
is
a show
usually.
tomorrow in
Yeah.
Sacramento. I might be going there. I
Yeah.
might not be. It's there's a show in fact. It's an acoustic emo folk show. Awake Patrol Band, I'm Glad It's You, Paper Airplane, and some other band. I don't remember.
Hmm.
Might go there and bust or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to keep an eye out. Keep up with you on that and see if I can make any of them. Because now I'm just wanting to go to one of these shows of yours and see how that actually is in person. It's always one thing to hear
Yeah,
about them, but it's a completely different experience to actually be there and experience it yourself.
yeah, it's always different to be there. Like especially like I hear a lot of people like talk shit on mosh pits, and they're like, I don't understand it, and I'm like, it's because you haven't been there.
Yeah,
You know, you haven't been there.
I was the same
Of
way.
course you don't understand it. Of course you don't understand it. You ain't been there, bro.
Yeah, this is like I was also afraid of doing crowd surfing until I finally did the same show that I first got into a mosh pit. First time crowd surfing, I'm like, this is fun. Got to watch your head and your legs as you're getting over the barrier, but it was
I
fun.
fucking love crowd surfing, bro.
Yeah,
I
so
love
much fun.
crowd surfing. I love crowd killing. I love fucking moshing, skanking, two stepping, all that shit.
Yeah. So yeah, this has definitely been a very fun conversation, just kind of learning about the local musician scene, man. Thank you so much for taking the time on this.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me, bruh.
Anytime, bro. So yeah, guys, this has been Gab Hominem talking with a really cool musician. I've got his Twitter and the description of this video. It also stays up as a video for anybody else to come and look at it if you missed it or if you want to share it with people. Take the link and share it around. Otherwise, just keep an eye on Gab Hominem and see who else we get to talk with in the future. And I can say for certainty, the next guest I've got in a couple weeks, very much related to what we've talked about today in regards to common projects. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, check out my Bandcamp and my
Bandcamp.
Spotify, and I'm on iTunes,
Shoot
and
me the
I'm on
links.
YouTube.
Shoot me the
I'm
links
on
to your to all of those so I can add them into the description.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Do that like right after.
Yeah, because I want to make sure everybody has all the access to all your stuff so they can experience it for themselves.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. So yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, listening, and Thank you again, Ash, for joining me. I'll see you guys all next time, whenever that might be. If I can get
Oh
this.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if this button actually works. Oh, come on. Damn it. Okay. Guess I gotta go and do the inconvenient thing on my computer. So, have a good night, everybody.